urban campers finding freedom in a broken America during the Great Recession and keeping hope in the modern day. By yours truly, J.J. Jackson. Chapter 1. What the hell are we thinking? Sometimes you have to get out of the house to find your true home. Sometimes it takes living on the streets to find out what you're made of, even if you don't have a clue when you start your journey. This true story you're about to embark on will test your wits, challenge your perceptions, and extinguish all expectations. Along the way, you will be knocked down, you will feel defeated, and you will want to quit. Turn back and run to the safety of what's familiar. But doing so will block you from ever experiencing progress. To grow, you must face your fears and follow your dreams. This is my motivation as I leave my small hometown and travel America, coincidentally at the same time of the 2008 financial collapse and subsequent Great Recession fallout. It looks like a horrible time to leave broke to try and find a new home, but I want to discover what America has to offer to make it the so-called greatest country in the world. Not only do I want to discover America during my journey, but as a bonus, I will get to discover myself. Strangely, I can find the independence and stability that has eluded me for 24 years through experiencing the struggle of living amidst the chaos of the road. I must place myself in the void to accomplish this task. I must leave home, or rather, I must embrace the whole country, the whole world, as my home to survive the trip. This is not a trip of luxury taking the long way from Michigan to California, but at least I have two of my closest friends to accompany me along the way as we meander the cosmos of humanity and bloom in the life force of the country's beautiful landscapes, looking for freedom and a new place to call home. I also have the new friends I make on the road, and there is an endless array of diverse people to meet, some of whom end up being influential people in my future. People like Chef Mark, who's lived homeless on the streets for over a decade. He's always found creative ways to get donations from people on the streets, like making a fold-out cardboard sign that reads, "Homeless, disabled, please help," with tap dancing lessons. If he asks for change on the streets, it's never in a pitiful way. He tries to make it comical. "I need $1.82 for the Church of Malt Liquor," he might say. Usually people will laugh and drop some change. Then Chef Mark will get up and start doing a makeshift tap dance. There's a part of him that seems happier to be living amongst all the characters that call the streets their home. The homeless, the street kids, the travelers, the RVers, the hippies, the disabled, the mentally challenged, and the rest that society neglects. "We don't need houses," Chef Mark says as he outstretches both arms and looks around. "Our house is right here, everywhere around us. I might be residentially challenged, but I'm not homeless. Still, every day is a great day. I wake up every morning to that Gordon Lightfoot song. Every day I wake up, today is gonna be my day. I can go wherever I want, do whatever I want." It's easy to be inspired by Chef Mark's words. He makes it sound preferable to be living on the streets, as if letting go of the confines of the four-walled box we call a house is the way to experience true and complete freedom. I can attest to that, as can my two close friends and bandmates, Don and Butters, who are on this sojourn with me to start a new chapter of our lives on the West Coast. We want to bring our band, Ashes to Light, out west for more music opportunities, and we want to reconnect with our great country, America. It's easy to get depressed and bogged down from modern society, and we want to invigorate our lives with adventure, see the unperverted land our country has to offer, and expand our perspectives by meeting people all over the nation. This is all new to us, and we run into many weird, novel, uncomfortable, challenging, and provoking situations. Traveling the country with 3 people crammed up in an RV. Before leaving Michigan, the main question people will keep asking us is, why would anyone put themselves in such a vulnerable position? Being without money and without work, out on the open road, thousands of miles away from anyone familiar. It's because we need to make big changes in our lives in order to not become victims of stagnation. We are unconsciously being crushed under the pressures of inheriting an unstable world, and little do we anticipate the looming housing bubble crash and economic recession that is about to hit America. An objective look at our situation might say it is the worst time to leave home and hit the road. We aren't balanced in our lives before we decide to hit the road, but like a good song, the rhythm of the road soon helps us find our equilibrium. Balance is the key to healthy experiences, and we take this cross-country trip as a necessary chance to explore the boundaries and limits of our personal experience, to fully comprehend, appreciate, and achieve balance. Balance is the guide wire to life. It is up to us to take the steps. Expect that every day is an epiphany. It may take time to notice, but inside every moment is an opportunity to realize what's constantly available to us and embrace our power as dynamic and energetic human beings. We leave home without a safety net nor a plan, and we survive through discovering ourselves and trusting each other. The personal relationships between myself, my roadmates, and the people we meet along the trip are great chances to explore the human experience. Our encounters show it's possible to have and show true love for someone, even strangers. My friends and I share on both ends of this give and take during our cross-country RV trip. We help others when we have next to nothing, and strangers come through for us in the clutch, seemingly out of nowhere. We ride this wave successfully for years, following synchronicity as it points us along our path. The term synchronicity is generally defined as meaningful coincidence. It's a term attempting to describe a phenomena of experience that is indescribable and intangible, the existential alignment of people, objects, and situations. It's a harmony between our thoughts and the world. It's when the life makes the most beautiful music. Synchronicity is another way of saying seemingly random things link up with a synergy that offers us insight, creativity, and opportunity. The more we link up our attentions and surroundings, the more synchronicity we experience and the more growth we can achieve. Synchronistic experiences have a level of authoritativeness that offer truth about the nature of our reality. Sometimes our synchronicity leads us as a group, and sometimes we travel individually, but we always keep growing, even through the most difficult times being broke on the road. We keep growing because we know we have no other choice but to progress and succeed. We know we are working towards something, using music, love, intuition, and hard work to become better people and create better lives. Trusting our synchronicity helps us succeed. Treat the blind with words of light. Help them see with new eyes. Through the depths of the darkness to their creative mind. And you will find freedom is alive. We are all connected in the circle of life. I am the flow. I am free. Together with my friends, Don, Butters, and Ken. We start the experimental rock band Ashes to Light in 2006. We are working hard to come up as a band, but our path in Michigan isn't unfolding in the way that we anticipated. There are hardly any places to play music in mid-Michigan as a rock band. Sure, we can travel out of the area to play, especially if we can get down to the Detroit area to book shows. But with the harsh Michigan winters, there's only about 4 months out of the year where there is good enough weather for that kind of regular traveling throughout the state. Driving during the winter, which sometimes seems to last 8 months, offers the fun possibility of ice-covered roads, flash whiteout blizzards, the infamous black ice, skid-outs, and multi-car pileups. Needless to say, we don't do a lot of traveling during the long winters, so it is hard to sustain a business model of a professional rock band in Michigan. Ashes to Light is formed just after I finished spending 4.5 years getting a college degree in journalism. Another field I'm also passionate about along with music. My alma mater has a nationally renowned journalism program, and I graduated with a mindset that I would find a great job for a publication near home. I thought I could have a decent life and contribute to journalism and its important role in society. The reality of life soon becomes apparent when the only job I can find is 30 miles away at a small county newspaper. I'm over $20,000 in student loan debt, and I'm only making $12,000 a year, which is barely enough to live on, even in rural Michigan. I'm used to living a fruitfully frugal lifestyle, growing up lower middle class in rural Michigan, but I still need more from life, economically and inspirationally. I'm pent up with being in a small town, working for a measly living, already living paycheck to paycheck, right out of college, being tens of thousands of dollars in college loan debt and trying to feel satisfied in life. Am I supposed to be content with what society gave me for my work and loan debt I spent to get a college degree? I did everything I always heard we're supposed to do. Get a degree, get a job, and contribute to society. I went through that whole process, and I'm nowhere near comfortable nor satisfied, and I'm in no shape to try and prepare for my future. I'm doing good work as a reporter for a great, thriving, small county, and the newspaper I work for takes great care of me for what they can offer as a family operation of only a few people. They give me complete freedom to write and report for the newspaper because they trust my talent and training. I have more freedom than most veteran newspaper journalists because I'm the only reporter for the newspaper. In addition to reporting on local governments, schools, events, and local interest stories, I also write regular editorials and columns about whatever topics I choose. I pretty much am living a journalist's dream, but getting barely paid enough to live on. The newspaper is just too small to have much upward progress. There isn't much room to keep rising in this field, and I always find myself wanting to spend my time doing music, as I still do. So what else am I supposed to do when presented with the chance to leave my small town and go on an epic cross-country road trip with my friends? The American dream didn't pan out like society said it was going to, so we must create our own destiny. We need a change. We need to do something about our lives. We need to take control over how our stories are unfolding. We don't want to be at the whim of society, at the whim of constantly being tossed around by income inequality. We must take charge of our future or risk being victims of our past, always caught up in the same struggles and the same pursuits. Don went to the same high school I did. He moved there his freshman year after growing up in Pontiac, a suburb of Detroit. He got into the gang scene down there, and once his parents realized how deep he was getting into that lifestyle, they moved him to the town where I lived, Mayo, up in the sticks, to try to keep him safe and out of trouble. Most of the teeth in his mouth are broken and decaying from all the fights he has been in growing up in the hood. He and I didn't hang out in high school, but we had a lot of the same friends. I remember peeking into the music band room and seeing him in the back of the room on the computer, wearing headphones and making beats while the rest of the class played their scales. And I was intrigued and a little jealous of seeing him having the freedom to do that at that moment. He had his turn at being jealous later that year when I, as a junior high school kid, took the main drumline spot in the high school pep band, a spot he really wanted. Don is pent up by his desire to get his message out, his story of how he sees the world and what he thinks humanity should be focused on, being together and enjoying each other's company. He is pent up like a character in a primetime sci-fi movie, always looking for the next mission or next accolade. That's what Don is after. Camaraderie, affection, acceptance. Growing up in Mayo, he fits in by being the big jolly guy, and that is a successful role for him to play out in the sticks of mid-Michigan, despite ridicule on a regular basis. He has a group of friends. He was one of the stars of the football team. He had college offers to top law schools, but tragically his mom died during his senior year of high school from medical malpractice while being in the hospital. His mom, like a lot of his family, was overweight, and the medical staff at the hospital didn't know how or didn't want to take care of her bedridden body properly, and she developed a football-sized bed wound that killed her. Don was understandably devastated and stopped going to school for the most part. His truancy, combined with a conflict between him and the principal, which led to physical violence on at least one occasion, caused him to be kicked out of school before he could graduate. He often speaks of our cross-country RV trip as a way to show the people in his life, especially that principal, that his value is determined by more than a piece of paper, and that he is going to accomplish his dreams despite everything and everyone that has been against him. Butters and I met when I was in college, and his band, Staring Tomorrow Down, was looking for a lead guitar player. We played some shows around mid-Michigan, and he and I became quick friends. His real name is Tim, but he earned his nickname Butters from his appearance and demeanor, which at the time both uncannily resemble his namesake character from the South Park TV show. When someone suggests a debaucherous or outrageous scheme, Butters is the sober voice of reason, saying it's not a good idea. And then there are the times when he can cavalierly smooth talk his way into anything, carefully navigating Wonderland. Butters is a bit anxious, almost agitated, in his quest to find truth and individuality after growing up in a religious childhood and then living alone in a college town as an adult. He needs the company of genuine, compassionate people to keep away his lonely feelings of disenfranchisement, but that company can be hard to find. He had roommates when I met him, but one roommate turned out to be psychotically unstable and once choked Butters before going for a knife to try and harm himself. And his other roommate turned out to be a raging alcoholic and bailed on months of back house rent he owed. So Butters is in urgent search of community, creativity, camaraderie, and direction in his life. It's like a spiritual journey where we all learn about ourselves, learn about life and living together, about following the flow of the universe and trusting in the universe. Some people call it God, some people call it whatever, but trusting that spirit to lead us to where we have to go, to where we get to go, and to follow it to the great things that it leads us to do and to the small things that it leads us to do, Butters says as we begin our cross-country RV trip. Humanity is shifting to a perspective that places more value on creativity and a deeper understanding of the illusion of immobility that comes with adulthood. We are confused into thinking that we are stuck in our ways once we reach adulthood. It's never too late to decide to follow our bliss. Exploring our creativity and what makes us happy is necessary for healthy growth. There is no such thing as a wrong decision if it progresses us and we learn the lessons that come with our decisions. How we evolve through life, just like how my friends and I survive on our cross-country trip, is influenced by this interpretive spectrum, or the range in which we judge our experiences. All experiences in life affect us based on our interpretations of the experiences. All experiences can be interpreted at any point on this interpretive spectrum. We can even change our interpretations of the same experiences as we reflect and learn more. How we choose to interpret an experience will determine how we are affected. There are many instances during this cross-country trip where we can interpret our circumstances as negative, but instead persevere and always find a way to achieve our next step. Experiences are inherently empty in nature. They are neither good nor bad. They are merely experiences perceived by our human consciousness, which then assigns an interpretation to the experience as either being good or bad, positive or negative, affirming or disaffirming. Affirming experiences are those that reinforce and progress us along our spiritual life path of creative and loving fulfillment. Experiences that we interpret as disaffirming negate in our consciousness that any progression took place through the experience. This means that with the right perspective and through the right interpretations, literally nothing bad can happen to us. My bandmates and I grow so much on our long, nationwide road trip through all our enlightening and difficult experiences because we make affirming interpretations that help us learn big lessons and thrive more as people. The interpretive spectrum stretches beyond the polarity of good, bad, positive, negative, affirming, disaffirming. Because as our consciousness, awareness, and feelings of oneness evolve, our interpretive experience of reality is no longer bound by these interpretive polarities. After all, there is only one underlying interpretation, that all particles of existence are merely condensed energy existing unified as one, and everything has its own angle of experience. There is no such thing as life and death, only a continuum of vibratory energy, and our current experience as humans is just one point, one stop, one phase along this continuum. We are intuitively guided by synchronicity as we make our way along this continuum. Intuition is a spiritual notion, and to trust intuition is to trust the spiritual nature of existence. Our intuition tells us that there is more to our human experience than what any authority dictates to us. Trusting our intuition is what guides us along the continuum to a higher vibration of our energy. If we trust our intuition and bring it into full consciousness, we will bring into our reality all we need to progress us along the continuum. The more we make choices based on our own wisdom and intuition, the more we progress. These decisions need to be made internally by each person, not be imposed on us by any external authority. The authorities of our society have too far a reach into our personal lives and decision-making. Laws should be in place to protect, not punish. People deserve protection from oppression, and lifestyle shouldn't be dictated by law. People shouldn't be punished for their lifestyle if they aren't harming anyone. People should be encouraged to pursue what makes them happy. Social institutions like education and healthcare should not be compromised for political agendas. Career choices shouldn't be made from fear or geographic convenience. We have let ourselves be so consumed and conditioned by fear that we let the authorities have such a large control over our lives. We are not powerless, and there comes a point where we must draw the line and stop looking to outside forces for protection. True confidence, true power comes from within, and pursuing our creative ambitions builds this powerful confidence. For Don, Butters, and I, music is one of our main creative outlets. It also builds character and the necessary team-building skills that it takes to survive on the road. Yes, we are worried about what might happen. That is always in the forefront of our mind. We are trying our hardest not to look at the trip with ignorant bliss and attempt to think everything will be smooth sailing. We know we don't have enough money to complete the whole trip. We know there will be hiccups and road bumps, but we feel our larger goal of finding an inspiring, sustainable spot to live, grow, and pursue creativity will carry us through all those road bumps. But that doesn't stop our friends and family from constantly reminding and questioning us about, what if something goes wrong? What if your car breaks down in the middle of nowhere and you have no one to call? What are you going to do? What happens if you get arrested on the road? Who's going to bail you out? What happens if you get hurt and you can't call anyone? Who's going to help you? There was one point before leaving Michigan when I'm having one of these conversations with my dad while we sit on the front porch swing and watch a brilliant Michigan sunset, and I burst out with uncontrollable tears. I have to do this, I yell through my tears. This is what needs to be done. If no one does it right now, it might not ever get done. I have to take this step for my life. I have to show people that it's still possible to take control of your life, even in these messed up times. I have to strive for something more than what our society gives us and expects us to accept. I have to be more. I have to do more. I have to love more. And that's not only when my dad starts to understand, but I finally make it clear to myself what I'm trying to accomplish with this cross-country journey. I'm trying to find myself. I'm trying to discover what America is like firsthand. I'm trying to see how I can meaningfully fit into a society that encourages mindless consumption. I'm trying to use music to illuminate and find insight in our human experience. I'm trying to survive on my own with no safety net nor backup plan in a country where we're all trying to exploit each other's potential. Though I'm still young, I'm not a kid anymore, and I must find a way to grow up. I want to embrace my abilities and put something back into the world, instead of being another empty consumer. To put it simply, I'm trying to be an adult, one that helps push humanity forward into progress instead of regressing into extinction. Stay tuned for more of my book, Urban Campers.